Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? Tumbleweed here. Good guy with the black hat, and got my trusty tumbleweed here. Just tumbling along this morning. I want to talk a little bit about our nation, and I'm going to talk about uh, something we've all seen. If we've seen the movie the Matrix, remember the red pill? Well, in that, Morpheus explains to Neo that the Matrix is a world of illusion. It's created to keep humans from discovering that they are slaves to an external force. Yeah. So, holding out a pill in each of his palms, he gives Neo a choice. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back, says Morpheus. You take the blue pill, story ends. You wake up in your bed and you believe whatever you want to believe. Now, you take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Well, how deep is the rabbit hole? Tumbleweed is reminded of a quote by William Pitt in the House of Commons in Britain in 1783. He said, "Necessity is the plea for every infringement of human freedom. It is the argument of tyrants. It is the creed of slaves." Think of that as we waddle up to the trough of government money. Whatever. Let's look at ideology versus principle. Now, in the past, some folks take issue with my comparison of ideology resting on a foundation of emotional sand versus principles resting on a bedrock of moral rules. Folks are entitled to their opinions, but let Tumbleweed suggest that ideologies, as described so very effectively by clinical behavioral psychologist Dr. Jordan Peterson, are, quote, simple ideas disguised as science or philosophy that purport to explain the complexity of the world and offer remedies that will perfect us. Isn't that sweet? Yeah. I suggest that ideologies are substitutes for true knowledge and invariably dangerous as a simple-minded, know-it-all approach. Downright contemptuous at times. Ideologies cannot be a match for the complexity of our real-world existence. The very word ideology has an 18th century French origin, attributed to a guy named Desutte de Tracy, and was to be used to designate the science of ideas. Napoleon Bonaparte borrowed the term, used it derisively, and relegated it to the old trash heap of now being defined as a systematic body of concepts, especially as ascribed to particular groups or political parties. Tumbleweed has suggested that ideology, not grounded in solid moral principles, is downright dangerous in today's morally relativistic world. For example, there's a growing demographic in U.S. culture that has adopted socialism, or parts thereof, as its ideological mantra. These folks are generally labeled as far-left progressives. Most have learned their socialism from media, academics, and political zealots as opposed to any intellectual debate in the crucible of ideas and experience. Nowhere in history has socialism succeeded as a form of government. Certainly not Sweden, for those not paying attention to that nation's gross failures and having to draw upon capitalism to salvage them. Socialism either regresses to a dependent culture with widespread socio-economic repression, in which capitalistic elements are cherry-picked by the ruling class of utopians in a desperate effort to try to salvage the society, or they take the next step to totalitarianism, as in fascism, communism, Nazism, what we kind of see in places like Venezuela and Cuba. Of course, the communists have found that the most expeditious way to control their utopian experiment, simple, kill the dissenters, like more than 110 million in the past century alone. Thank you, Karl Marx. Oh, and the communists are very much alive and well in the United States, some disguised as socialists or cultural Marxists. Indeed, an ideology can be very dangerous, especially when grounded in faulty moral principles. Tumbleweed argues that socialism seriously threatens our republic. the sound moral principles embedded in our Declaration of Independence and in the Constitution of the United States are vastly superior to any socialistic ideology, yet they're being challenged by mostly what Vladimir Lenin called useful idiots. Tumbleweed believes it's important to fight against evil. Evil is an aggressive, pervasive, often subtle artifice that must be fought and defeated. The alternative is to live in mediocrity or worse. It boils down to a natural human tendency to treasure liberty, the opportunity to carve out our own opportunities, unencumbered by some ponderous, metastasizing, supposedly utopian government's ideas about how we should live every facet of our lives. So Tumbleweed's chosen the red pill and is intent on fighting the evils of moral relativism, nihilism, and utopianism. Which pill have you chosen? Just saying.